voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
The mistake really is there's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
All right. What'd she say?
She essentially pointed out that we haven't checked in on the mayhem coming from The View in quite some time. Additionally, you might assume they've settled down. Not at all. They're still charging ahead with their typical woke nonsense. But this time, they got caught. Enter the unexpected pairing of Karoline Leavitt and Bill Maher, who teamed up to effectively shut them down. It was everything. Indeed, what sort of outlandish theories were the women of The View spreading this time? And how did Karoline and Bill respond with the perfect blend of sharp humor and unfiltered truth? We've got every highlight, including the mic drop moments, so hang tight. This is going to be a ride.
This endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more...
You may be wondering why Bill Maher is now pushing for a reduction in hostility between political groups. It seems Maher's gradual lean to the right has not gone over well with the women of The View. What was the final straw for them? He recently had dinner with former President Trump. Whoopi Goldberg was furious during a recent episode and slammed Maher for daring to share a meal with the man they view as their top public enemy. She was adamant about not even saying his name.
Take him seriously and take him literally.
I don't think that we have to... I think it would be remiss of us to not say, Joe Biden knows how to do this.
Yes.
He knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And, you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean...
He rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
But can I mention one thing?
That rant was just the beginning. Bill Maher's character was then completely torn apart. She couldn't believe Maher had crossed the line by dining with the man they've demonized for years. To Whoopi and the other hosts, this was more than just a meal. It was a clear betrayal. Moreover, they felt that the unforgivable offense of sitting with the so-called devil could never be redeemed, not by logic, comedy, or open dialogue of any kind.
How you be so flippant, man? Listen, nobody on the planet really wants to go through this. This is not something we're doing because it's, gratifying. This is what we're doing to protect our families. And you don't have to do it, but stay away from...
Maher wasn't about to ignore this, as anyone familiar with him would expect. And yes, he delivered. The comedian targeted Whoopi Goldberg and anyone else outraged by his visit to Trump's residence. On a recent episode of Real Time with Bill, Maher, he addressed their outrage directly, dissecting it piece by piece using his trademark mix of biting sarcasm and sharp commentary. He's not asking for their approval, nor does he need it. Classic Maher, bold, unapologetic, and razor sharp.
12 days ago I had dinner with President Trump, a dinner that was set up by my friend Kid Rock, because we share a belief that there's got to be something better than hurling insults from 3,000 miles away. And let me first say that to all the people who treated this like it was some kind of summit meeting, you're ridiculous. Like I was going to sign a treaty or something. I have no power. I'm a comedian, and he's the most powerful leader in the world. I'm not the leader of anything, except maybe a contingent of centrist-minded people who think there's got to be a better way of running this country than hating each other every...
Maher made one thing very clear before launching into his verbal takedown of Whoopi Goldberg, which I'll play in a moment. He reminded everyone that disagreement doesn't have to lead to outrage, and differing opinions don't require hostility. This is still America, a place where democracy has meaning. Just because someone sees the world differently doesn't mean you have to lose your mind. It's called respectful debate. A concept the women of The View seem to have discarded. Along with last week's headlines, Maher wasn't just defending himself, he was defending the principle that disagreements can be handled civilly. Makes sense, right? not to Whoopi, who saw it as a personal attack from Maher.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
I know as I say that, millions of liberal sphincters just tightened. Oh my God, Bill, are you going to say something nice about him? What I'm going to do is report exactly what happened. You decide what you think about it. And if that's not enough pure Trump hate for you, I don't...
Whoopi unintentionally revealed her not-so-secret wish that the vice president had been Maher's dinner guest instead when she compared Trump to Kamala Harris. She wouldn't have objected if that had been the case. It's likely she would have. Hosted the dinner herself. Whoopi would have applauded like a seal if Maher had praised Kamala. However, since those same remarks were about Trump, they were seen as betrayal. This had nothing to do with principles or consistency. It was partisanship at its worst, and Whoopi laid that bare for all to see.
Talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid. On a regular basis, it just happened.
Considering Whoopi's tirade drew criticism from every side, with some even demanding her resignation, that kind of boldness is rare today and deserves real recognition. Maher, however, didn't play the victim. What distinguishes him is his deeper loyalty to principle, but that didn't stop him from dropping a few bombs of his own.
Life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Oh yes, it's true. Bill Maher did compare himself to a lion and Whoopi Goldberg to a hunter. You heard that right. Whatever you think of Maher, the man is a master of words. And truthfully, he wasn't wrong. Goldberg stormed in like a righteous hunter, guns blazing, intent on taking down the so-called traitor in this strange media safari. But Maher flipped the script. Instead of running, he countered with sharp wit and well-aimed jabs she never saw coming. In the end, it wasn't the lion who limped away. The hunter looked rattled. And meanwhile, White House press secretary Karoline Leavitt was just getting warmed up as Maher cooled the fire.
Cultural Marxism trickling its way through every institution in this country. The public school system, the higher education university system, Hollywood, big tech, the corrupt mainstream media that I fought against in President Trump's White House are indoctrinating my generation of Americans into hating our country, hating one another based on race and gender and sex and all of this other BS.
Levitt is spot on. Today's wokeness has led to a moral decline that's touched nearly every corner of society, leaving real damage in its path. What started as empathy and progress has morphed into a toxic wave of identity politics, censorship, and division. Facts are no longer the core of journalism. Stories are crafted. Universities push ideology over learning. Political parties prioritize virtue signaling over workable solutions. Even the healthcare system isn't safe as ideology. Overshadows science and patient care. This isn't just cultural evolution, it's a serious crisis. Wokeness isn't fixing society, it's draining it. Whoopi Goldberg isn't just another opinionated host, she's become the embodiment of the mindset poisoning our public discourse. Her unwavering devotion to woke doctrine shows how easily celebrity can be weaponized to defame, silence, and condemn anyone who dissents. Instead of encouraging honest debate, she fuels the flames of cancel culture that are tearing society apart. And Karoline Leavitt didn't let up. She turned up. The heat on Whoopi.
Irony in all of this is that Joe Biden and the Democrats and these ladies on The View constantly say President Trump is the alleged threat to democracy, when in fact they themselves are wishfully thinking that President Trump will be imprisoned when he has not been convicted of any crimes. That is the real threat to democracy. Voters see that, and that's why President Trump continues his
Karoline Leavitt really came for those bitter hosts, and they had it coming. Let's be honest, the women of The View have been feeding their loyal audience a steady stream of lies, spin, and outright falsehoods for years. It always ends with emotional commentary. Look at how they once praised Joe Biden as America's greatest blessing, even as it became painfully clear he was struggling with cognitive decline in real time. Next came Kamala Harris, hailed as democracy's savior. It's pure propaganda. And yet she often can't string together a clear, coherent sentence without launching into a storm of buzzwords draped in pearls, sharp suits, and loud laughter. Thankfully, Levitt wasn't afraid to face a national audience. She shattered their illusions with facts, poise, and a spine of steel. Whoopi Goldberg tried to respond in her usual fashion, of course, but Levitt's reply was absolutely iconic.
It really is. There's too much BS floating out there, and now it's out of our hands. There's no way to control it, so now they're saying they're going to control it. I want to see what they're going to do.
My team will review the applications and give credentials to new media applicants who meet our criteria and pass United States Secret Service requirements to enter the White House complex.
Levitt exposed the hypocrisy of a woman who preaches unity and tolerance but explodes in anger when someone simply shares a meal with a past president she despises. She reminded America that true leadership isn't bowing to the loudest crowd, but staying firm in your convictions. This wasn't just a viral moment, it was a wake-up call. With every truth bomb she dropped, the foundation of reckless woke mania crumbled. Karoline Leavitt and Bill Maher together tore down The View's performative outrage and emotional fury. The harsh truth emerged from just one dinner. Those who shout the loudest for tolerance often show the least of it. Maher didn't back off. Levitt stepped up, and together they cut through the media elite's illusions. This wasn't just another hot take, it was a cultural milestone. The old tactics of spin and shaming are losing power as more Americans open their eyes. Truth is making a comeback and the tide is finally turning. That wraps up today's episode. If you want more content like this, please hit the like button and subscribe. If bold, uncensored commentary is your thing, share it with your friends. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.